inventer, trouver une nouvelle façon de faire que cette magie peut dévoiler dans la rue. Et donc c'est pour ça qu'on a fait le Disney Magic on Parade en anglais, ou la magie Disney en parade, qui va être inauguré aujourd'hui. Et en fait, ça représente pour nous, dans les histoires classiques Disney, les moments magiques dans chaque histoire. Donc si on prenait déjà une toute nouvelle ouverture de parade, et puis tout ça sur un grand grimoire magique qui s'ouvre, et on imagine que le touré d'un château magique est en train de sortir. Et elle sort en lumière, en couleur, en magie, tout ça, ça brille, de brillantes étoiles. Et donc bien sûr, vous avez les trois fées pour laquelle on a trouvé une nouvelle chorégraphie. Ces fées, ils ont l'air de se voler, se glisser par la magie. Really cool. Et en fait, c'est européen de design parce que c'est comme des automates. Tu sais, au début du siècle, où on fait monter la petite engin et puis ça tourne et les petits animaux bougent, etc. Donc les princes, pour chacun de ces princesses, conduisent en vrai. Et ils conduisent leur princesse derrière la magie des magiciens. Et puis après, vous avez notre char qui a des autres princesses dans lesquelles on a changé un peu les rôles. Donc Ariel, elle est bien positionnée parce qu'elle est sur sa coquillage avec Eric. Et puis Tiana et Prince Naveen pour représenter la nouveauté. Et Réponse qui est dans le balançoire avec Flynn Rider. Et tout ça bien entouré dans ce mouvement magique. Une autre chose de cette parade, c'est qu'elle ne s'arrête pas. Donc toute la nouvelle chorégraphie est faite en looping pour continuer, pour vraiment que cette parade devienne une famille dans la magie. Donc vous allez voir que les cartes qui dansent, que les marionnettes qui dansent sur le char back-to-back de Alice et Pinocchio, ben, ils sont assez près de le Green Army Men avec Jessie qui danse dans la rue, justement pour faire que la famille reste dans la musique de la Magic Everywhere, mais les histoires suivent les histoires. Dans un jardin magique, un peu fantasia, et c'était même un petit conseil de Steve Davison, où sont des balais de fantasia pour l'apprentie sorcière, il faut peut-être les mettre avec en paillettes et tout. Donc on les a ajoutés. Les étoiles aussi pour faire briller tout ça dans le diamant de cette magie, vous allez voir, c'est vraiment quelque chose de splendide. Et on finit en beauté, et toutes les VIP de cette année, ils sont habillés en magicien parce que c'est le 20e anniversaire. Donc ils ont un nouveau costume qui représente vraiment la magie de ces 20 ans d'histoire ici en Europe et ici à Paris. Et donc aussi on a certains magiciens qui n'ont pas encore trouvé leur histoire Disney, mais qui les inventent, les invités à faire le protège du final. Et là aussi, la magie de ce nouveau glissade, chorégraphie, qu'on ne voit pas dévoiler aujourd'hui.
So for the 20th anniversary, we decided to completely redecorate the train in all of the wonderful colours to link into the parade and also into the whole message of the 20th anniversary, all about the light and the colours and the transformation and the magic. So who better to put on the train than our VIP characters? You know, it's very difficult for our guests sometimes to find the characters. We've got these fantastic new costumes for the 20th anniversary, and we always see them in the parade or we'll see them in the show, but we never really get the opportunity to have our pictures taken with the characters in those costumes. So this is an ideal opportunity. And that's why we decided to bring the train back for the 20th anniversary, new music written specifically for the train, and also a new BGM which will accompany the meet and greet section as well. So it is completely new.
So about 2 years ago, they asked us to look at a big 20th anniversary spectacular, something that was big and grand, that was transformational, that was light and color, and would tell a magnificent story like we do in all of our other theme parks around the world. So a whole new kind of genre that we're working with is video mapping and taking this technology and putting it on the castles. So we decided to use that and anchor a show in it and basically kind of take us into what we initially started with was the idea of dreams and what are Disney dreams and how can we tell that story. And when we were here early on and I was at the hotel, this is the big inside secret to the show actually, I kept seeing Peter Pan and Tinkerbell. They were on the doors, they were in all the designs in the hotel, and I'm like, you know, Peter Pan is really a fantastic character and we really haven't told a grand story with him. And Katy and I worked, and we really started to play with this idea. How can we take Peter Pan? And the idea of the shadow came up about using a character that doesn't speak, and the character can go from Disney story to Disney story. And in a sense, he's kind of the everyman that takes us into these new worlds in crazy new ways. So the last 2 years, we've just developed the show with creative entertainment here in France, our friends at Feature Animation, our friends at Pixar, and so it's been kind of a huge company effort to actually make all this come together. So I think the wonderful thing that you'll see tonight is how the show really isn't technology, it's a grand story. It's a grand kind of vision coming to life through a lot of different techniques, kind of blended together in new ways that we've really spent weeks and weeks and weeks, all night long, perfecting. And what's wonderful, this is a ground-up show specifically for Disneyland Paris. There was rumors that this was for Walt Disney World, and that's not true at all. This was created specifically for here. A brand new soundtrack by Joel McNeely that's fantastic, all new imagery that we put together, all for Paris Disneyland. It's a very dimensional castle, so it took 3 months just to laser map the actual structure, and then we built a model of it in California that we could project on and test. So before we even came here, we were testing in California to figure out how to make it flat, really, in a sense, because at times it's very three-dimensional, at times it's very flat. It was probably the most challenging part, because if you watch the show from many different angles, all the images wrap the castle. It is not a flat piece of magic. It is totally 360. There are projectors from the side, there are projectors from the front, but everything crosses each other. So you have digital maps that literally overlay and wrap every single surface in ways that are mind-boggling, actually. I love it because it's a hard surface. Each show's different. World of Color was all water, so it was learning how to play with water and tell stories in water. This was very much a combination, because we have the castle, there's laser activity that happens with all the projection on the castle, then how we integrate the water, how we integrate the fireworks. Took a lot of time, because shows have to teach you. You have to come and start to paint, and once you start to paint, you're like, well, this works really well, let's try this. And you spend quite a few weeks just experimenting, because everyone thinks that, oh, it's done, you just come in, you project it, we're done. No, everything's unique, because once you put it in, you finally get to see it. At that point, I'd seen a model that's 3 meters high with projections on it. And so we did a couple tests early on, and then we learned from that, and then we started to really develop the show. I think it will. We've been asked, what's great about this show is that all the technology that's here is permanent. That all the projection locations, everything, once it's finished, will disappear and basically is a solid infrastructure that you can use throughout the year for Disney Dreams, other shows. But I do think in years to come that Disney Dreams is made in sections. So we don't have to go to a step in time. We can take the Mary Poppins section out and come in with a brand new movie if we want to, or another classic. And that's what'll be fun, is it'll always change, like World of Color does. World of Color, we've changed 4 or 5 times since we've opened. And even this summer, we're actually going to do a new piece that's coming. And that's what's great, is that it always keeps it fresh. So you come in and go, oh, that's new. But even with the technology, we can go back to the original show by pushing a button. And between one day and the next day, we can actually go back to the original show or the 3rd version of the show. So all that's kept.
So you don't lose anything.
Yeah, we don't lose anything. So the adventures can come and go, and it'll be fun. Originally, when we wrote the show, it was there was probably twice as many characters in it. And a lot of it was originally was how could we take the little guy on an adventure? How could the shadow go on an adventure? And what were the best adventures? So you just start brainstorming, you start to put things up, you know, does he float up on Winnie the Pooh's balloon and go into another adventure? I mean, there were hundreds of storyboards, and a lot of it was music driven too, because music really drives this show. That it is kind of the heart and soul of it, and then the visuals work with it. So it kind of was music. Some things we chose, like we chose Quasimodo because it is from France, and it was great. And a lot of people were like, well, why are we doing that? I'm like, because it is beloved here, and we wanted to do that. Plus being able to kind of do Notre Dame on the castle was very cool, and a big challenge. You know, how can we take icons here and really kind of transform the castle in different ways? So it was a whole mixture of things that some things came, some things went, and it changed a lot.
Yeah.
When you look at the beginning and where it ended, it was fascinating actually to see where and some of it was music too, because when you get your other partners in, they say, well, what about this? Why don't we try this? Or the media designers go, well, let's do this. And it's always evolving. I think that's why these shows work so well, that they're not locked from day one, like this is all you can do. And it evolves over time. And that's what I love, because when you get here, there's things that got cut, things that changed, and it's all because you strive for the best as you go and learn as you go. Yes. There was an interesting idea of projecting on the water screens, that we're back projecting on the water, but I wanted to see if we could front project on it too and align the images together so we would get double brightness. Well, it doesn't work.
Not yet.
We had to name the technique and everything.
Because what we found out actually is that when you do that, the alignment's so complex, because the projection on the front is so warped to the castle. When you project it on the water screen, it's kind of like, you don't know what it is. It doesn't, and it was so hard to realign it, we didn't do it.
Kind of hitting a moving target too.
Yeah.
Because water moves, you know,
So that was one big aha.
Est-ce que vous pouvez nous raconter comment l'idée a germé en fait? C'est une idée des équipes de Paris et puis on vous a appelé pour vous dire viens nous aider pour faire le show, ou c'est à Glendale que l'idée a été créée en fait pour le show?
Where did the idea come from? Did Paris, were you in Glendale?
say we want a show.
No, it came from Disneyland Paris. They wanted a big show for their anniversary, and they actually looked at 4 concepts originally. There was a lot of different things going around and settled on doing Dreams.
En fait, ça est venu de Paris, la demande est venue de Paris, et au début, il y avait 4 concepts qui étaient faits par 4 productions différentes, et pour avoir vraiment une variation des idées pour le spectacle au début.
C'était toujours appelé Dreams, hein, que Steven a présenté. Puis tout est...
So it really started with marketing, and I mean everybody's worked on it. Tom Fitzgerald's helped us with this. Gas, I mean everyone has really helped make Disney Dreams come to life.
Vous avez compris?
I just sit in my office and
Wait for the phone.
somebody wants a show. Because we work so far out on so many different shows. Like we're working on a new parade for Tokyo right now. And while I was here, Tokyo flew to Paris to actually see this show, but to also work on their new project too. So we're always constantly working on something somewhere. we think of all those things that with my lovely partners here, you know, knowing this audience and what we do in English, what we do in French, was a lot of decisions too. Everyone worked on the show. John Lasseter worked on the show. He weighed in on the story and what we were doing with the shadow. Same with Tom Staggs worked on it. Everybody. I mean, it was, you had a lot of meetings. And it was great because that's how the show's really evolved, especially with the shadow, because especially with John Lasseter, he's such a child that he wanted him to do fun things. So a lot of that, you'd meet with him and we'd talk about it, and we'd come up with funny ideas, because they are truly animated animators. So it was really great to have that kind of connection with the studio and everybody to make that happen. So. Do you know the number?
I want to say,
It's high.
yeah, it's like 15,000.
Because you really get a good view from almost everywhere.
Even on the right side, just where you have the
Even
field?
around about halfway castle stage.
Okay.
Because further on we have limited zones for some of the pyrotechnics.
Okay.
So it didn't make any sense to keep going where you couldn't get the people to go anyway. So it's a good 3/4 around. But actually, last night I was way up, almost at Town Square. I could see the images beautifully. I still felt very immersed in the magic. So it's sort of giving our audience also a choice. Do I want to be squished back 3 against 3, like when I try to see the parade on Main Street? Or do I have like a little space and hang out? Wow, sounds good, looks good, feels good. So it's a very environmental, it just brings the castle to life, and the castle is big.
It'll be fun for people that come here a lot. Like we went, because we go watch the show from everywhere to make sure that it's working. And over by Castle Stage, the fountains are very close to you. The pyro is very close, and it's a very different show. Plus, there's specific projectors for that side. So if you go over there, there's little things that appear that if you're watching it from the front, you'll never know that are over there. So you can watch it many times. We have hidden a lot of things in the media, so you will watch the show a lot going, oh, what's that?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, I know they added that.
That wasn't there last time.
We did that with World of Color. There's a lot of layers to these shows on purpose, because you watch it, like if you watch the little Step in Time guys, each one does a little funny different thing. So you can have your favorites actually if you go and watch it enough and really kind of break it apart about how we kind of put it together. So it's complex, but it's not. It can be as complex as you want it to be. But overall, it's just a crazy entertainment show. To be honest, no. What we did for this show is we made them daily use. That when you do your kind of special event shows, they have to cordon off so much of the park that you can't get that close to them. Eric Tucker, who does my pyro designs for all my shows, actually worked a lot to make this pyro daily use. So you can use it all the time. So it doesn't have a lot of fallout. So it's very park friendly, actually.
It enables us to keep a larger part of the park open to the guests. And it had to be specifically designed. It had to find a new formula for the powder and the mix.
And also for sound concerns, maybe also?
Yeah, we went through all that. There was a lot of, because they want to run the show quite frequently, that we had to reach a very certain sound design, which we did. We're actually under it, so we can run the show. And there was some things that came out because they were too loud, actually. So, you know, that's how you learn. You're like, oh, let's lose that. You're like, oh. And then you come up with different ways to do it. It forces you creatively to go, okay, I don't get that. What else can we do creatively to kind of cheat and make something fun? You know? Not cheat, really, but how do we use what we have to really take it over the top? So. And what's great about the show, too, is that the show can function in very many conditions. If it's high winds and you can't use the fireworks, we can still run the show. The media, we've seen it many times with just the media. The media is so stunning that you can watch the whole show without fireworks. You can take the water out, you wouldn't know. Fire can come in and out if you need to. So it's really built if one thing needs to come out for the show that night, you would never know.
And it's just sitting
Flash.
Actually, the water's been interesting because it's actually pretty good. You don't get a lot of spray. It was really windy the other night for the cast premiere, and I was right in the front, and I didn't get any water at all. I wasn't wet at all. We did have some craziness on the drawbridge because you would do the fountains and it became a river. And so early on the first week, I'm like, oh my God, we created a river. So they've actually, the park was great. They went in and put the new drains in, and we don't see that anymore at all. But we were freezing it too because the water screens create such a mist. When it was really cold at night, it would land on the drawbridge and it was an ice skating rink. So it's really fun. Yeah.
Test and adjust.
Test and adjust. Captain Hook and Peter Pan. My brain's going to stop. It's the artist who did the Genie, the original Genie animation. Fantastic. Did a lot of the animation for the show. All the Pixar did Remy for us from Ratatouille, which was fun. So there's a lot more than anybody expected, I think. Some scenes from the films were actually extended. So like a lot of Lumiere, there are bits of him from the movie, but then we went in and kept animating him. So we took the scene and there's new fronts and backs to make him work for the show. So it's very complicated because that's the stuff you have to plan far in advance, what you're going to animate. And in fact, the studio won't animate until you finish your story. It takes a long time because they don't want to animate something that won't be used because it takes so long to hand animate all this stuff, because it was all hand animated except for Remy.